to gather and receive a very important personality, the Vice Chancellor of the UPSA. He is doing a program engaging students in senior high schools. And I want to believe we are the first group he's meeting. Yeah, we are the first group he's meeting this semester. It's a special privilege because high-profile personalities bring you many things to learn. So we are happy to have the Vice Chancellor with us here. I'll call on a team member to come and introduce him, and we move straight into the program.
Hey guys! Hi, how y'all doing? You have no idea how excited we are to be here with you today. Thank you so much, and I know we're going to have your full attention. And you're going to take advantage of this rare opportunity to listen very attentively to Professor Amartey and to learn a lot from him. Okay, my name is Abednego F. I'm Deputy Director for Public Affairs for UPSA, and I'm truly honored to be in your company today. To introduce to you one of the greatest leaders I know. His name is Professor Abednego F. He's the Vice Chancellor of UPSA. He's been Vice Chancellor since 1st January 2017. And within the period that he's been Vice Chancellor, UPSA has grown exponentially. The student population has increased by over 100%. He's put in place such great infrastructure to accommodate all of you when you come to UPSA. He joined UPSA 16 years ago, and he's doing really amazing stuff over there, and he really is looking forward to welcoming you all. He's a minister of the gospel, he's married with 3 children, so he understands young people like you. So with a resounding round of applause, and I would even ask us to rise up to welcome him.
The head mistress, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here this afternoon. It's a privilege, and as you mentioned, this is the first institution that we are visiting on our program to share ideas with our young brothers and sisters. So we are privileged to have received us kindly. One of my hardworking staff members, Freeman Kwade, standing here, actually is an old student of this great institution. So you can see that there is space for you at UPSA. Not just that, we have a lot of your students who are your past students, who are students of UPSA, and they are doing amazingly well. So God willing, I'm expecting more of you to come to UPSA as students. So as was mentioned, I've been Vice Chancellor for the past 6 years. I've dealt with a lot of students. I've been a lecturer for the past 20 years. So my speciality has been talking to young people. Over 2 decades, we've gathered some experience and common problems that the young ones face. And we think that it is good to share ideas as brothers and sisters so that the mistakes that some of us made, you will not make the same mistakes. If you are going to Accra the first time and you couldn't find your way, finally you are able to find your way. If your brother or sister is going to the same place, he doesn't need to be like you. All he needs to do is to ask you the route to the place, and you are able to go. So mistakes that others have made, it's not necessary that you do the same mistakes. And which is why we want to share those ideas with you, because your future is great. You are the future of this country. You are the ones that will take over from us. So it's amazing. But 40 years ago, I was seated like this. I didn't think that time will run so fast. And here I am. 1981, I was a student. Now 42 years on, I think. Now I'm standing here and talking to young ones, and it appears as if it was only yesterday. So I think that, so I realized that time moves so fast that if we don't take note of that, we will make some terrible mistakes which will not help us. So we are here to share ideas, and then possibly you can ask us questions as your senior brothers and your senior sisters. But basically, I want to share with you what we call your life's CV, or your life's curriculum vitae. Now, when you are employed or you are going to look for a job, they will tell you to prepare a CV. I'm sure you've heard about CV before. So even at this level, you prepare some CVs, and you pitch your CV such that you want people to recruit you, to employ you. When you apply for a job, it's not you they are looking at. They are looking at what you can do for them. Too often make a mistake and think that when they apply for a job, they are looking at me. They are not interested in you. They are interested in who can do the job for them best. So in preparing your CV, you have to prepare it in such a way that you are saying that I am the best person who can do this job. People don't employ you because you need a job. They employ you because they have a need that you have to meet. That is why they can say there are 100,000 people who are looking for jobs. Yet there are still some jobs that they can't get anybody, because they are looking at who will perform the job, not because you need a job. And I find out that when people come to school, or they come to work and they apply for a job, they are looking at themselves to say, I need a job. I need a job. Give me an employment. No, people are not looking at that. The employer is looking at who can do the job best. So position yourself in life such that people will look for you to give you a job. One person can have 5 companies calling him, whereas another person too, nobody is calling him. Because the one that they are calling him most is saying that he can do the job best. So once you know what a CV is, I say we are talking about a life CV. That in life too, you must position yourself. You must have a CV that when people look at it, they will know that you perform well. And so spend some few minutes with me and let's discuss this. And then I will hear your voice as well if need be, and all of that. And the experience I've gathered led us with that there are every CV, normal CV, there are 4 things they look out for. So for those of you that are going to prepare CV, take note of this. There are 4 major things that we look out for in the CV, and we apply it to our life as well. So when you prepare your CV, make sure that you capture all these 4 that I will talk about. I'll briefly explain. Every CV must have this. If you don't have this, then it means that they will look at it and they don't even call you for the interview. And so the first thing that you should have on your CV, whether you place it first or second or third or fourth, it must be there. That you must have on your CV, which is why you are here, is that you must state your qualification. Please say with me, qualification. So every CV must have qualification. That means that you must show the school that, can I please go down? Is it possible for me to go down? Okay, I'm free to go down. I'm sure you can hear me. Okay, so so I prefer to be. That's the way I lecture in class. So that's the way I lecture in class. So when I stand here, I don't feel free. I don't flow well. So it's best to come close to my brothers and my sisters. So the first thing that you should have on your CV is qualification. In other words, you must be qualified for the job that you are applying for. So you will see that any advert will say, we are looking for a BSc marketing, a BSc accounting, LLB. We are looking for BS engineering. We are looking for a doctor. What they are saying is that they are looking for your qualification. You must have a certain minimum criteria for which you can do the job that you say you can do. All right. So the first thing they want to look at is what you say you can do, backed by your paper qualification. So it doesn't matter if you can do the job, but you don't have the paper to back it. They won't take you. Which is why when you say somebody is a fake lawyer, not because he cannot represent you in court, it is because that person doesn't have a qualification to back it. You may be the best traditional healer, but if you go and call yourself a doctor, they will arrest you, not because you can't heal the sick, not because you can't do surgery, but because you don't have qualification to back it. That is why outside this country, if somebody is a cobbler, a shoemaker, he usually will have a qualification. It is here that when they say somebody is a mechanic, and then you just drive your car to the place and say, repair my car for me. In all other places, when they say you are a mechanic, you must have qualification to back it. So learn this. Everything that you are going to do in life, have qualification. I use this as an example, but I'm talking about your life CV. And in progressing in life, first thing, you must have qualification. That is why we are here. That's why school is important. It's the basic, it's the first level of any CV you prepare. In the same way, in life, it's the first thing that you must have. No matter what you do, have a qualification. Hello. That is why you are here. So the doctor will have a paper that shows that he's a doctor. Engineer would have one. The marketing person will have his qualification. It's important because that's before they even give you a check and say, let's have an interview, you must have that qualification. So for those of us that we say, oh, a paper doesn't matter. Paper matters. Qualification matters. And the reason why they pay the doctor more than the laborer, because the doctor has something that says that he's a doctor. The laborer doesn't have something that shows that he's a laborer. He can just be sacked at any day. So you must have something to say, this is what I qualified in. It's so basic. Everybody must have a paper. That is why you are going to be a footballer. I know you like football. You like Arsenal. You like Chelsea, Man City. You say, as for me, is football I will play. Okay, or Man U. So you say, oh, me, I'll play football. But remember that even after football, there is life after football. 30 years, it is done. So you must have something that says, I qualify to do this after. Which is why football manager or football coach, you must go to school, you must qualify, you must do some psychology, medicine, etc. And then they say you have moved from this level to that level. You can't even coach Arsenal or Chelsea or Man U if you have not moved to a certain level that they give you certificate. So whatever you do in life, have certificates. It's important. And for those of you that you go to church or Sunday school, we know about David. We know that he fought Goliath. Is that not so? Okay. The first thing he did was to say, I'm qualified. He told Saul, he said, I have been in the desert And I've been fighting the lion and the bear, so I can fight Goliath. You know what he's saying? He's saying that I have qualification. So whatever you do, you must have what? Qualification. Please, I beg you, have qualification. Take your studies very seriously. Whatever you are, don't say it's not important. It is, even if you won't use it, have it. It's so important. You see, maybe, and the way you guys are addressed, I can see that you come from rich homes. Okay, so let me give my reason why. Because you look so neat. Speak and expand. I think I should thank the school management for the good work that you have done. Now, and I'm not flattering you, because I went to Aquinas Secondary School, and our uniform was also white like this. But believe me, my shirt wasn't as white as this. Because we were staying at La. Do you know La? You guys call it Labadi. We call it La. Because we are not that bad. So we are La. We are not Labadi. We are La. Okay. And from La, we walked 4 miles to Aquinas and 4 miles back. The roads were not, and they are still not tarred. So on the brown road, by the time you do you're walking 4 miles, already takes you brown Monday morning. By the time you go back, it's double brown. And the thing is that I had only, and some of my friends had only one shirt. You can imagine wearing that shirt from Monday to Friday and repeat. You can just imagine. That is why I say, I look at you and I'm like, you guys are very, very rich. But it shows that you are taking very good care of yourselves. Fantastic. Now, there's something interesting about Aquinas. Aquinas, now I don't know how many of you know Aquinas. You know Aquinas Secondary School. And let me see if I know Aquinas. Okay, so Aquinas shares wall with Morning Star School. And it is placed, it's placed at cantonments. You know, the rich people live in cantonments. A lot of the big people who will not send their children to boarding houses, they bring them to Aquinas. So in our day, you had the chief of defense staff. The children were there. You had all the Indian business gurus, the tycoons, their children were there. All those in cantonments who will not send their children to boarding house, they bring them to Aquinas. Then you had the rest of us coming from La, Osu, Teshi, Gan. We too, we are one of a kind. We are the ones that will wear the shirt for 5 days. And it is not washed. We are the ones that will go and steal carrots planted around. But you also have those from Labone cantonment who don't walk to school. They actually drive to school. Some of them actually drive themselves. They are not driven, they drive themselves. 17, 18-year-olds. And interestingly, they change their shirts every day. So it's like two worlds. The world of the poor and the world of the rich. Now, just imagine, who are the ones that the teachers will like? In fact, because for us, when we lift up our hands, the smell alone will put you off. and once you are struggling to, when you come, you buy granules because that's what you can afford and put in your pocket. Then you are chewing small in class so that it won't finish. These people are coming with packed lunch, eggs, bread, toasted, drinks. I mean, when you see, they said, so me to win. So two different ways, two groups of people, but we are all studying the same thing. And these were great guys. There was a time when one of them came to school, 17-year-old. He lived just a stone throw from Aquinas, but he would always drive. It was so popular. One day he came, he wasn't driving. He was so furious, he was angry, he was annoyed. So his friends asked him, who were not his friends, so because, the rich and the poor. So his friends were asking him, why, what's happening? He said, it was a Monday. He said, the Friday, they were to go to Babylon. You guys don't know Babylon and Bam Tavin and those days. Those were the days when you had keteki, you had those, we used to call them clubs. Now I don't know what to call them, whether you call them pub or whatever. In fact, some from WASHS used to go there those days. He said they were to go to the club the Friday. He wanted to go with his girlfriend. Yes. And his mother said he should go with his sister. They didn't say he shouldn't go. They said his sister should accompany them. Because of that, he says he's annoyed. So he won't drive again. And they are begging him. And he says he won't drive. Your reaction was the same as my reaction. I was like, who will beg me one day that I say I will not drive and they will beg me to drive? Those days, we used to go to school with Persuades. But the guy who come to school, those days, we used to go to school with Persuades. He used to come to school with 16 CDs. And they will go to bus stop and blow it in a day. The next day, he will come with more money. If I mention the family name, you will know. So that's what I want to mention. But these were people who were living large. They were enjoying life. But we were in the same class. Fast forward, years later, I finished university, first degree. I've chewed groundnut, bread. So now that I'm a degree holder and I'm working, I said, let me enjoy small. So I went to Osu. If you know Osu, you know Oxford Street. Hey, you guys go there. All right, okay. And they sell some ice cream there by, which was the ice cream in Osu? The Oxford Street. Frankie's. You guys know that thing. So I said, let me also go and buy Frankie's to show that I've also arrived. Those days, we didn't have mobile phones. We had pay phones. So you guys didn't come to meet. You enter, then you have your card, you insert it, you make a call. And usually when you are delaying, others will be banging the door and say, please come out, and that kind of thing. So I entered. Few minutes into the call, somebody was banging the door. So I was like, but I just came. But that was just standing there. But when I came out, I saw this gentleman. He was in some tattered top and tattered jeans with bathroom sandals, what we call Chalewati. But there was something about the guy. I looked at him and I said, I know you. I said, I know you. Then it clicked that this was a guy that was driving to school. This was a guy that was saying that he would not drive because they didn't allow him to go to the club with his girlfriend. This was a guy that he was changing his white shirt every day. This was a popular guy. So I mentioned his name. They said, do you know me? I said, Aquinas Secondary School. Then I said, what happened? I could see tears forming in his eyes. And he bowed it, and then he said, and he was very honest. He said, I entered into drugs. My father couldn't contain it. He died. I said, where is your mother? He said, they relocated because the family is ashamed of me. Because if I mention the family, where they are coming from, it's like the black sheep of the family. And the kind of investment that has been made in him. I had to give him 1 CD at the time. So he claimed to take a vehicle. But here I was coming from La, 4 miles in, 4 miles out, white shirt turning brown. This guy was somebody you could not even befriend because he belonged to a certain level. But I was giving him 1 cedi. The only difference was because now I had a qualification, and that would get me employed. That's why the qualification is important. And maybe I didn't tell you, but maybe I didn't tell you this so that you appreciate. My mother and my father, 6 children. First guy, boy. Second guy, boy. Third one, boy. And they were looking for a girl. Fourth one, boy. So fifth one, another boy. It was me. And then they gave me the name in Ghana, Faye, which means all is well. We will take it like that. I guess I brought a girl. The sixth one was a girl. But my mother never went to school. My father never went to school. So my father was a peasant farmer, fisherman. So rainy season, you go and farm. Dry season, you go and fish. Then my mother would go and sell the fish at the market. Now, my mother learned to read and write through Sunday school. So going to church, she learned ABEDAF, so she could read. So when we were growing up, first thing to learn to read and write was by my mother. It taught me something. People give excuses for what they didn't have. But as I told some people this morning, good excuses lead to good failure. She didn't go to school, but she still learned to read and write. Don't give excuse for your problem. No matter the excuse, it can only lead to failure. So the excuse you are giving about your life is good excuse. It will lead to what? Good failure. At best, all you can say is that, yes, I couldn't do this, but it still doesn't mean that you are succeeded. But that wasn't even the problem. In fact, so 6 guys, you can imagine when you are eating. Those days, they don't serve everybody in individual bowls, all of you in one bowl. You can imagine the big brother and the young one eating the same bowl. The reason why up to today I eat so fast because I learned it when I was young. That's how you survive. You have to be, the speed of life is going to still meet as quickly as possible so that when it is done, you can, because nobody will give you your own. Nobody. You have to survive. Hey, what I'm saying like a joke is not a joke. In fact, the uniform, you wear khaki those days. What you are wearing down, we used to wear top, etc. It's not new. The first one wore it, handed over to the second to the third to the fourth. You can imagine the one I was wearing. It had Sergeant Major. You know Sergeant Major? It means the top, they are tongue. And this, at the age of 7, when you are wearing something that somebody wore in class 6, when you see me, it's like mosquito moving. Because the thing is oversized. And the sandals or the shoe, when you put your leg in, you have to walk in a certain way because your leg can come out of it all of a sudden. You have to survive. But in all of this, we enjoy life until I lost my mother at the age of 13. Then I understood what life was about. But you see, all of this, I'm here today. I said qualification matters. A qualification, it matters. Education will take you out of poverty. So if there is something that your parents did for you that they've done so well, or your guardian, the fact that they make you to be in school. I say this, apart from your religion and for me Christianity, the next most important that they can ever give to you is your education. Education is a leveler. It will take you from poverty, not to be rich, but at least you can take care of yourself. Now, because my mother gave me education, she didn't go to school. Some things I would do for my children, she couldn't do for me. In other words, and for those of you that like Bob Marley, he who lives to fight, he who runs away will live to fight one another day. If you didn't fight your battles and win, you hand over to your children. The reason why some of us cannot afford certain things, because our parents didn't fight that battle. If you fight the poverty battle and win, your children will not fight the battle again. But if you don't fight it, you hand over the baton to your children. They will fight your battles. But I pray that you will win this battle so that your children will not have to fight that battle. One day, my daughter asked me something, and I felt she was asking too many things. So I was complaining. And then I told her, when I was your age, I couldn't afford these things. Then she asked me a question. What work was your father doing? I said, my father was a fisherman. He said, but my father is a vice chancellor. She was telling me that her father is what? A vice chancellor. And me, my father was what? A fisherman. When they say her father, she was referring to what? Me. I walk barefooted, but she doesn't walk barefooted. Because some battles I have fought and I have won. So they don't have to fight those battles. Some of the things that you are complaining about your parents, because they didn't win that battle. If you don't win that battle, you pass it on. That's why you have to win that battle. And the sure way to do that is through education. Because please, not everyone can become a Thomas Partey or a Michael Essien or a Dede Ayew. But as for education, all of us can have it. And the thing about education is that it's even a family planning tool. So when you go to the village, by the time the person is 18, she's a grandmother. But when you are in school, what they are teaching you here alone, I mean, you know biology. You know that you have to space it. By the time you even finish university, you are going to something. You are not going to have 7 children. Don't joke with what? Education. It is qualification that you must have. So I said the first thing about life, have what? Have qualification. Pursue it to the highest degree you can. If you can do your masters, go ahead. If I begin to have plans, I will do my masters. Begin to have plans, I will do PhD. When you say basic education, I'm aware that Ghana they say BCE. But can we agree here that for us, when we say basic education, we mean first degree? Can we agree that me and you, when you say I didn't go to school at all, say that I have a first degree? Even if you are going to be a WASHS seller with a degree will do better than a WASHS seller without a degree. That is why I buy some WASHS at East Legon, 40 cedis. They sell one across the street, 5 cedis. The one who is selling for 40 cedis because she's adding what? Education. So even if you say you are going to be a seamstress, we will not call it seamstress, we call it fashion designer because you add the education to it. Even if you are a watchman, we won't call you a watchman, we will call you what? Chief security officer. Even if you are a driver, we will call you a chauffeur. Because you are adding education to it. I hope you understand. First point, get qualification. Life CV, get qualification. Get educated. Whatever you choose to do, get education. I hope you understand. Number 2, now education is a basic. It's the lowest level. Education alone won't take you far. It is basic, it's a requirement, it's a prerequisite, something you must have. But having that alone, so can you imagine when you visit the hospital, it is there, Dr. So and so, he has all the qualifications, which is good. But anybody who visits the place, the person dies. Anybody who goes, the person dies. One day there was an argument about a doctor. They said he finished 12 years ago. 2 people were arguing. One said, since he became doctor 12 years ago, he has taken care of only 2 persons. The other guy said, no, only 3. He said 2, 3. Can you imagine a doctor all your life, you think of only 3 persons? Somebody said 2. So that's the person who said 3. How sure are you that there are 3? He said all the 3 are attended their funerals. In other words, it is better to be the best shoe shine boy in town than to be the worst doctor. It is better to be the best shoe shine boy in town than to be the worst doctor. So that leads us to the next point. The next point, education is basic, qualification is basic. Number 2, get experience. Number 2, get what? So when you prepare your CV, you will list your qualification. The next thing we look out for on your CV is your experience. What have you done with the qualification you have before or after? So in life, you must have what? Experience. Now, when I say experience, I don't mean go and work at Unilever or Barclays or Standard Chartered or even UPSA and say, oh, I have this experience. A lot of the times, that's what people are looking out for. That's what people think they are looking out for. They are not looking out for that. When we say experience, it doesn't have to be flamboyant or big or superfluous, something that is out of this world. Even now, you can have experience. Even now, you should have experience. So David said, I've been at the battle, I've fought the bear and all those wild animals. I can fight a Goliath. You must have an experience. So let's say your mother sells watching. Don't say that as for you, you are a crutchy. So you don't sell watching. That place is what will give you your first experience. You will gain your first experience. Your father may even be a driver's mate or a mechanic. That is where you will learn how to fix basic things about vehicles. You have no idea what that experience will do for you. When you prepare your CV, don't neglect those things that you have been doing for people, for which you offer to help this or you offer to do that. Gain experience. Gain experience about your phone. What to use the phone for. The phone is not for you to be chatting and sending stupid comments on social media. There are things you can learn to do with the phone. You need somebody that you can work under. It doesn't have to be formal. Even at this rate, you can learn a lot of things. I was in Rome 2 weeks ago, where we Cardinal texting. In fact, it wasn't Rome. We moved from Rome to Japan. When we got to Japan, we were with the Vice Chancellor of UN University, who is a South African. Then we saw a lot of white students coming. And he said, these people, something about them compared to Africans, they always want to have experience. So they will do everything possible to gain experience. As for you, all you know is what you have read from the books. But you don't volunteer to do anything. At home, you don't volunteer. When you vacate, what do? Is it not possible to say, oh, the shop or the mall or the supermarket here, I will come and help you. Don't ask for money. What you want is what? The experience. Now, a lot of young people, when they are getting employed, what they look out for is money. Wrong. What you should look out for is to gain experience. Listen, as you grow and you gain experience, you earn more because of the experience. Those who chase after money, they never grow. So your first job, you are looking for what you will get. That is what a lot of graduates are looking for. They don't realize that what they should be looking out for. They should be looking out for experience. So here I am. I finished university, 2 years, no job. 2 years, solid 2 years, no job. So finally, and like a lot of us, I wanted a job with Unilever, the banks. People that when you are working, you wear white shirt and tie. Then you buy a baby base. Then they will see that you have arrived. When I didn't get, nobody told me. I applied to teach at Star of the East, a primary school. I went for the interview, they said I'm overqualified. So that I wasn't given. Fortunately, one person did not take up the appointment, so they gave it to me. I was teaching primary 5, morning till afternoon. Then I'll go and do some special classes. Then I got VASH service, good place. I joined. They posted to Sunyani. At that time, I was doing the marketing professional class in Accra. And then now they say, go to Sunyani. And I said, but I'm doing classes here. I remember Setepo Namu was then the boss. He said, when you are looking for a job, you will come and cry. They give you a job to Sunyani, you say you want to be in Accra. We won't change it. If you like, stop. So I had to stop the classes in Accra to Sunyani. But what I did was the fact that I then bought all the books. Sunyani, I didn't know anybody. So when we close at 5, I will study till 9 p.m. and I'll go home. My friends were in Accra going for classes. It was time for the examinations, UK examinations. I registered and I wrote all 4. When the results came, I had passed 3 out of the 4. I was sad that I didn't pass the other one. So when I came to Accra to look for my friends, I said, oh, my results, I said, so you guys, he said, oh, they didn't write. So why didn't you write? He said, you know, when you close from work, they will go for the classes. We didn't get time to study. So we didn't write it. Then they told me that, but you said you wrote all 4. I said, he said, these exams, they don't write 4. They write 2 or 1 at a time. I said, I wrote 4. I passed 3. What I didn't know helped me. Because if I had known, I wouldn't have written the 4. I would have written 1 or 2. Because I didn't know that, I tried. And I passed 3. And that helped me. But you know, in the region, in Brohafu, VASH service, 6 years, I was promoted twice, 6 years. The second promotion, the entire region, I was the only one. Now, people are staying for 20 years, they didn't get that promotion. But interestingly, the day I got the promotion, that same week I resigned. I resigned because I wanted to go back to school. Because something in my heart said, the best place for you is a classroom. I can't explain it. Now, everybody at the time thought I was a fool because you struggled for 2 years without a job. You now get a good job that is paying well. People are making money. If you're a tax man, they make money. And I used to joke and say, I want to go to heaven, so I don't want to be a tax man. Why would you leave? In fact, when I left to come and do my master's at the University of Ghana, some of my friends saw me and they asked me, how are you? Now, when they say how are you, there are 2 types. The first how are you is how you are doing. The second how are you is like, are you sure you are correct? But here I now lost my job. I was now doing the masters. How do I feed myself? Again, people were working, so they would come to class and rush to work. I wasn't working, so I found a strategy. Whenever I don't have lectures, I go to the library and I will learn. So my friends who didn't have time, when they come, what do? I'm telling you how I became a lecturer. When they come, I will explain to them. And the more you explain, the more it sticks. You should know that. When you learn something, the best way for you to keep it is to explain to others. The more I explain, the more I'm able to keep what I've read. Therefore, my grades were way better than the rest. One lecturer took notice and came and asked, who is this person? Then I got up. I said, what have I done? He said, come to the office. He said, I noticed that your grades are very good. I wasn't special, except that I was having more time for my books because I wasn't working. He said, I want you to come and help me to teach. There's something we call the teaching assistant. The lecturer will teach, then you come and explain. So I said, okay. I thought, oh, now earn money. Apparently, there was no money. He wanted me to do it for free. And I was willing to do for free because I told you, in my heart, I was fascinated by lecturers. When people are explaining and they are interviewing them, they are giving knowledge. So my interest was in that. So I would dress, get my wedding tie, put it on, move to his office. And then when it is time, I go and explain to the students. And I would prepare so well. So the students like me. Apparently, there were some grown-ups who were in the class who were working in big companies. So they now told me that, please, can you come and explain it in our halls for us? When I go, you prepare food for me. So, will you eat? I said, okay, you bring it. You bring it. Then they'll give me money, they'll put it in my pocket. Then I'm gone. Then they started telling their friends who were not doing masters that there's a young man who is so good. So suddenly I was going to them. Now their project work, they'll give to me. Can you help us and all of that? So I was enjoying the job more because whilst Mr. Adi wasn't paying me, I volunteered. Now after some months, I'm getting small money somewhere. When I was helping Mr. Adi, people said, the man is making a fool of you. Making a fool of you. Why would you do all this for him? He doesn't give you a peso. But you know what I was doing? I was gaining what? Experience. I was gaining what? Experience. Now, I'm teaching there. Then I see an advert. Now it's called UCOMS, University College of Management Studies, on the Kaswa Road. I see the advert. They are looking for a marketing lecturer. So I applied. I went for the interview. Give me a form. Fill. Show the experience you have. I have done 1 year at University of Ghana Business School. I was not being paid. But the moment they said, show this, what did I do? I wrote, University of Ghana Business School. How many years experience? 1 year. They are not asking me salary. They just ask me for what? Experience. Don't forget that this is something I did willingly, free of charge. But now I've put that on paper and I have submitted. The man said, good. We have employed you. So I'm now going to earn money as a lecturer. The only problem is that the money is so small. But people told me that man at Dr. Potter, they said, like to put their words, it's not correct. Be careful, he will cheat you. I was happy that I was going to teach. That was all that I cared about. After a month, I wanted to be paid. The man called me to his office. He said, you said you will teach at University of Ghana. I said, yes, sir. In fact, I had no stop. I was still doing it. But I didn't tell Mr. Adi that I go and teach here. He didn't know. So when I finished with him, then I go. He said, you said you teach at University of Ghana? I said, yes. He said, who can test? I said, oh, Mr. Adi. What I didn't know that was that he knew Mr. Adi. So he called for staff meeting. Took his phone, his big phone, placed on speaker. Said, Dr. Adi. He said, hey, Dr. Potter, long time, I have not seen you. He said, yes. So they had their pleasantries. Then, and I know to Mr. Adi that I go to teach here. So on speaker, everybody was there, about 12, 10 people. Then he said, there's a young man here. His name is Abednego. He didn't finish. Then Mr. Adi, it was on speaker. Mr. Adi said, you want to employ him? He is so good. Go ahead and employ him. Listen, that was what experience could buy me. Supposing I was charging Mr. Adi, what he did for me that day was one of the greatest validations I've ever received. He set me on the trajectory to be what I am today. You know what? The man changed. After Mr. Adi had said this, he put it, when he hung up, he said, I knew it. When I saw you, I knew you were a good man. I was only testing you. Really? He died recently. God bless his soul. He would always come to my office and said, I want you to come and head my university. If you don't come, get somebody for me. Because of that phone call that Mr. Adi, the recommendation he gave me, can you imagine if Mr. Adi had said that he's a foolish boy, don't mind him? Can you imagine? Can you imagine what would have happened? When I left the man's office, guess where I went? I went straight to Mr. Adi's office, expecting him to say something. Up to today, Mr. Adi never mentioned that they called me to ask about you. He never mentioned. I went there, normal work. Listen, when you are doing something for people, young people, don't be in a hurry to collect money. Volunteer to help. When the time comes, it will help you. That's how you gain experience. So they were not paying me that much. Based on the teaching I had here now, former teaching, etc., I saw an advert at All Nations University of Florida. Then I applied. When I applied for All Nations, the last day I applied, I was there when I got a call, strange call. I was still doing my galamsey. Because of the University of Ghana experience, people were still calling me to help them. Because I volunteered, people are now calling, help me. I got a call one day. I was coming from Barclays. He said, I am Dr. So and so, president of All Nations University. I came from Canada. I saw that you have applied. Please, where are you? I said, I'm in Accra. He said, tomorrow 3 p.m. Where will you be? I said, I will be at Action Chapel. He said, I will look for you at Action Chapel. I'm going to do the galamsey the following day. By the time I got there, it was past 3. But I saw the vehicle park, All Nations University. So I approached them. They said, oh, Dr. Donko had gone in. You see, at that time, when you are looking for serious job, etc., all you can do is to fast and pray and to go to church. Some of you, with all these states, you won't go to church. Hey, you are strong, bro. Where I come from, if you come from there, you go to church. That's why I said, you are too blessed, so everything is all right. But it gets to a time in your life where you know that everything is God. I knew that I didn't have anybody, so it is God and my education. So Action Chapel was organizing a 40-day fast. I joined them and I would go there to pray. When I got there, the president of the university came, and he's also a reverend minister. So he had gone in and he saw it there, 40-day fasting and prayer. So when I went and I saw him, he didn't say much. He asked me, okay, qualification, experience, the things I'm sharing with you. Then he said, tomorrow morning, can we go to Florida? I said, why not? With some whites. So they picked me in that beautiful vehicle straight to Florida, sat in front of him to Florida. Then he said, yesterday when we came, you were not there. I said, sorry, sir. I was coming from Barclays to Action Chapel. He said, are you a member of Action Chapel? I said, no. I said, because they have fasting and prayer, which is why I was coming there to pray. He said, but I'm not a member. I said, no. He said, if you are not a member of this church, of that church, you're having fasting and prayer. I know Christians love praises and worship. They don't love fasting and prayer. Even the members. But if you are not a member and you still attend fasting and prayer, you are a good man. You have employed you. That was the interview. You are good man. But there was a problem. A private university, so the salary is what? Very small. Very, very small. And the thing is that in the public university, I mean, please, UPSA is not private. UPSA is government owned, public. 100% public. It's not private. Okay. A place like UPSA, maximum, you will teach 12 credit hours a week. So 12 hours a week. Maximum. At a place like All Nations, private company, you could teach about 25, 26, 30. A place like UPSA, you don't teach more than 2 courses. A private university, you can teach 5, 6. You can teach from morning till evening. The point is that when I was there, people were resigning. But anytime they resign, I take the course. Because for me, it's about experience. So I was happy teaching and taking all the courses. At a point, I taught about 15 different courses. At a point. Then I see the advert at IPS then, now UPSA. and I applied. When I went for the interview, there were about 50 people. And I was wondering, what am I doing here? All these people. Then they gave us a form to fill, what you can teach, experience. I thought about 15 on this, so I wrote everything. But when I looked on the paper, people were writing 1, 2. I said, what have I done wrong? It was my time to get in. When I entered, 9 people were on the panel. Then they started and all of that. Then at the point they brought the paper out, they said, you can teach all of this. I said, yes. I said, oh, I have taught all of this at all nations. Then I learned that they have started a degree program at IPS. So all their lecturers have gone on study leave. They wanted one person who could fit into the bill to teach several courses. So when they look at the fact I can teach all of this, guess who they employed? I was the one. Now, I was going to Koforidua every morning. I would leave home 5 a.m., get back 11 p.m. Sometimes on the mountains, the car will break down 1 a.m. I remember one day, 1 a.m., the car broke down. We had to get out of the car for them to repair. Then we saw a madman coming. The people said, that is the god of the area. Come and see speed. We have gone through all of this, and IPS employed me. The rest they say is what? History. Now, something that I told you, Mr. Adi, he was the one who gave me the chance at University of Ghana for me to volunteer for a year. I told you that. Mr. Adi now retired, and he wanted a place to to teach. And Mr. Adi came to UPSA. Guess who helped Mr. Adi to get a job at UPSA? Myself. But that was not even what I was looking for. 2-3 years ago, we were employing lecturers. The people were coming. A lady sat in front of us. I looked at her, mannerisms, etc. So I checked the name. The surname is Adi. So I asked him, do you know one Mr. Adi at University of Ghana previously? He said, yes, that's my father. He said, that's my father. And no wonder the lady was employed. I'm saying this for you to understand that whilst you have your qualification, gain experience. Don't look for money. Look for what? Experience. Now quickly, let me, so when you draw your CV, even now, you do your qualification, do the experience. So you learned how to do PowerPoint. You learned Microsoft Excel. You learned how to use computer. You learn how to dress well, your appearance. All of this, as you do it, these things will come with some experience. Some people here now, they don't even know how to put on a flying tie. So this was something you must learn. Let me finish the final two quickly, some few minutes. I said qualification number 1. Number 2 is what? Number 3, skill. Skill. S-K-I-L-L. Skill. Gain a skill. What is a skill? Let me give you some synonyms for skill. If this somebody has a skill, it means that you are a master of that thing. Another word for skill is expertise. You are an expert in that thing. Another word for skill is that do it well. So do it well. Expertise, master it. Skillful, learn how to do it well. So if you say you are engineer or a marketer, learn to do it well. Whatever you learn to do it well. Once you mention skill, it means some words are important. Training, apprenticeship. Those who acquire skill, they become apprentices. They become mentees. These days, when we're growing up, you see a shop. There are plenty ladies wearing the same uniform. Then you see somebody in the middle of them that they have gathered around, you know that they are learning to sew. It's a concept of apprenticeship. Listen, when you come out with a degree as a doctor or a lawyer, you are not yet a good lawyer. You are not yet a good doctor. Which is why after 7 years of medicine, they will still say, go and do housemanship for 2 years. And after that, they call you what? A junior doctor. Because they know that you have not acquired the skill yet. The reason why I don't buy traditional medicine in Trotro is because if somebody after 9 years is still not a senior doctor, how many years have you learned to have traditional medicine? Yet we rely on them. When you finish your law 5 years after, you are still a junior lawyer. They will place you under a senior. Then they will mentor you. When you do your PhD marketing, you are not yet a marketer. You still have to place yourself under somebody so you can train well. It means that you have to be a mentee and there has to be a mentor. You have to go through training and apprenticeship. People must learn, young people, no matter where you are, learn to be an apprentice. In fact, what our parents do at home is to mentor us. That's why they will say, come and learn how to cook. If I do this, etc. They are saying, be a mentee. Too many people think that they have arrived. But I told you, 20 years I've been a lecturer. I have learned under various people. And today, I can also mentor others. Take your time and go through the process. You see? Birth, your birth date. Birth is an event. Growth is a process. When you are born, you have a date of birth. It's an event. It's taking place. But growth is what? A process. You don't know when your hair is growing, but before you realize it's grown. People focus on event or outcome without focusing on the process. So I was coming and I came with V8. You see me in traffic, you will say, this man is enjoying. Then you are annoyed. You are focusing on the outcome. But I've just given you a short story about where I've come from. Don't focus on the event or the outcome. Focus on the process. How to get there. Not those who have arrived. You can be in air-conditioned V8, you still sweat. Because what I'm thinking about is not air-conditioned matter. I hope you understand. So don't be in a hurry to own a car. Young people, don't be in a hurry to own a car. Don't be in a hurry to travel. Don't be in a hurry to stay at East Legon. When you know where you are coming from. Oh, me, I want two-bedroom apartment. You are in a hurry to get there. Then you are looking at, you have some pictures in your room. Beyonce. They say, oh, Beyonce is my role model. And then you want the Beyonce you see. Ask yourself, how did she become a Beyonce? You are focusing also, you are in a hurry to be rich. Focus on the process. Don't focus on the outcome. If you go through the process, the outcome will be all right. Take your time and go through life. That is skill, mentorship, master it. It means that there will be tears. It means that they will be unfair to you. It means that sometimes you will cry. There is one Bible verse I love. Hebrews 12:11. We are not in church. But Hebrews 12, he said, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness for those who have been trained by it. Training, go through it, learn it, cry, wake up in the night. How is it done? When you have done all of this, the outcome will be easy. And finally, exposure. Say exposure. Exposure. Okay, so I started by asking, how many of you know UPSA? Let me see behind again. How many of you know UPSAs? But do you know that there are some people here, if you are not careful, they will not know where the Shell filling station is. That they say, oh, me when I come to school, the only place I know is this. Another experience. I'm working on campus. Then a student comes. When he comes, he says, I'm looking for my French lecturer. I said, who is your French lecturer? The tall man with the bushy hair. I said, look under the bed. He's there. Up to today, I know every teacher who taught me by name. Up to today, I know them by name. It is part of exposure. The ability to be curious and to know what's happening around you. So you say you want to be an engineer. That's good. I want to ask you a question. Tell me 3 successful engineers that you know. You say you want to be a doctor. Tell me 3 successful doctors that you know. It's called exposure. The way you dress is part of exposure. So ask whether you can put on a flying tie. It's exposure. Some of us don't even know how to use fork and knife. Because where we are coming from, we stand and we eat. But it is part of what? Exposure. Let me end by telling you this. And quiet. Let me end by telling you this. Do you know why we go to school? If it's just about learning, we'll do distance learning. The reason, one major reason why we go to school, to have a classmate. You know why? In school, somebody is coming from Brohafu, somebody from Northern Region, somebody from Accra. Even in Accra, somebody is coming from cantonments, somebody is coming from Tertiary. People have come from different places with different strengths and weaknesses. Your job is to learn the good side of others and incorporate into your life. So, for example, where you are coming from, they don't bath twice a day. But when you get here, you look at it and say, this person dresses neatly. I want to be like him. Where you are coming from, you talk anyhow. But here, you learn from somebody. Where you are coming from, when you are eating, as if you are fighting. But here, you learn from somebody who talks well. School will allow you to have classmates. It's exposure. When you watch television, don't just watch for entertainment. Watch it because there are some things that you can learn. You don't need to go to UK to learn things in UK. Just watch it. And I'll tell you something. A lot of Ghanaians who travel outside, when they go to, let's say, UK or they go to US, they go and stay with only Ghanaians. He's been in UK for 30 years. He eats only Ghanaian food. So even though he's in UK, he's still in Ghana. No exposure. But you can be in Ghana and still have a lot of what? Exposure. You will learn a lot of things that others have not learned. I came to tell you the CV. First, qualification. Number 2, experience. Number 3, skill. And number 4, what? Exposure. Thank you very much.
Because sometimes you feel discouragement and like you don't have the motivation to go on this sort of thing. You have the qualification, you have the experience, you are exposed to expertise, and my own choice is like I want to be self-employed. And what is your advice on that aspect? Thank you.
First question, okay, shall we have some silence, please? The first question was from a poor background, what motivated me? Because you can be discouraged and all of that. And I assure you, you are going to face tons of discouragement. You are going to face difficult situations. You are going to face things that can knock you off your chair, which is why a lot of people are not able to break it. But part of the reason for doing this is a motivation I want you to have. That if you look at me and several others, it tells you that it's not so much where you are coming from. Once you are determined to do it, God will help you. And that's one of the reasons why we are doing this, to identify with several people who are within that situation. But I'm more concerned about people that they think they are not in that situation. Because I gave you the example of somebody who was doing so well as a young man and how it ended. The thing is this, keep the hunger level high. The more you are hungry for something, the more you want to satisfy it. So focus your attention on what you want to be and let that one be your motivation. The moment you tell yourself that you have arrived, the hunger level drops. You don't push again. So focus on where you want to be. Focus on the goal. This is where I'm coming from. In fact, even if your father is Bill Gates, still focus on the next level and say, this is where I want to go. I read a story about a young man in the US that the father was a billionaire, left him a lot of money. When the father died, he wrote a check and said he was giving all the money to charity. He said he wants to make his own money. I said, we don't see that in our part of the world. Because he didn't want the money to be a hindrance. I say this, don't let your schooling be a hindrance to your education. Education is not schooling. Education is not schooling. The schooling, they just give you notes. You read some and then you go and chew, pour, and forget. Education is change in character, change in life. So let that be your motivation. Focus on that and say, this is where I want to be. I'm coming from this background, good, bad, and ugly, but this is where I want to be. And that alone should motivate you. Look at your mentors and say, I want to be like this person. And focus on the process. Those will motivate you. Hello. The second one is what? You had the second question. Self-employment. So you have your CV, you said background or qualification, experience, skill, and exposure. You notice that I called it your life CV. So I'm not just talking about what you put on paper, which is good. Let this be your life story for self-employment. First of all, I want to be an entrepreneur, self-employment. First thing, I've got to do qualification. So what do I need to learn? Qualification, I'm talking about is learning. What do I need to learn about self-employment? There are books that you can always read. Number two, observe people who have made it. Then you go to your experience. Can I volunteer to help somebody who has made it or is doing something and see what lessons I can learn? Even those who have failed, there are things I can learn from them. Then I say, I want to acquire skill in self-employment. So I will spend time mastering it. How is it done? Sometimes I will fail, sometimes I'll succeed. But what are the lessons? Acquire skill, then get exposure, attend exhibitions. When they say, okay, there's a program like Madam Ivy does, your namesake. When you start to ask the question, because she does public speaking, so no wonder it's Ivy who asked the first question. So you say, I want to learn public speaking. They have some exhibition, they have some seminar. You find somebody and pay and learn. They are teaching about finances. You go and learn. You are meeting like-minded people. Then start small. Whilst your eyes are on the big thing, always start with small. Start from your grandmother's kitchen. Prepare that shit up, 5 bottles and sell. As you sell, don't chop the money in your mouth. Invest back, move to another kitchen, get a kiosk, begin to do it more. You are improving step by step before you realize you are the big time tycoon that we're talking about. KFC and other things. So that's why you have to have exposure. KFC was started by somebody who had gone on retirement, and that was his hobby. He loved to, and then people started buying. Today, it's all over the world. Start small. Keep your eyes on the ball. Focus. Learn from others and improve. Then I had a question about, which is the question, actually today I met Lankwatana cluster of schools. And the question they ask is what has been asked. That we said education is a leveler. Education is a family planning tool. Education will take you from poverty. But you have done your masters, let's be added, you have done PhD. And yet there is what? No job. People come to me, PhD, they have no jobs. First of all, I said good excuse leads to what? Good failure. Good excuse leads to what? So I used my case. What did I do? At least I volunteered to do it for free. In the process, I gained experience. Our problem is thinking that I have a PhD, so somebody should just employ me. I told you, they don't need you. They want a solution to their problem. So you have the qualification, you don't have a job. Start, for example, by volunteering. I have come. I'm coming to help teach. Organize something small, whether in church or wherever. Begin to volunteer. Now they asked a question about the fact that you can't even pay, you can't get a job. I gave an example. I said, as a vice chancellor, I see several students coming to me and say, we cannot pay the fees. What do we do? And I use a simple example. I said, we have about 500 workers, majority of whom have cars. They are parked. When they come, they go to the washing bay and wash them. Is it not time for you, if you can pay your fees, to volunteer and say, when I come, I will wash 10 cars for free? Won't you get one person who will say, I will pay your fees for you? Won't you get one person and say, a young man, what do you do? And say, I have finished degree, I don't have a job. That person may look for opportunity for you. Our problem is always wanting to be paid before we are employed. So yes, we have over 100,000, and let me tell you this, 100,000 people graduate from the university every year. The formal sector does not employ 10,000 a year. It means you have a huge backlog. The one who gets employed is the one who has the entrepreneurial spirit. That is not looking for somebody to employ him. Either he employs himself or he decides to volunteer and serve. Opportunity will open for that person. The next time I'm able to come here, we'll talk about entrepreneurship.
Experience. Okay, so in this case, I'm looking forward to be a lawyer. And you being experienced, you joined groups available like eight labs and the rest. So my question is on the table, which is creative. So you aspiring to be a lawyer, what skills are you needing? Like what are the skills you have to
And you hear some of our colleagues saying maybe doctor, teacher, those. But when you decide, let's say, you want to engage yourself in those sporting activities, they'll be like you are aimless, sorry to say that. So my question is, so when you decide to, engage in those things, is there, like, is it good decision or, I don't know what
My aspiring professional footballer said that when you ask that people what are you going to do, they will say lawyer, engineer, doctor. I was surprised that he added teachers because I remember two ladies were conversing, and when ladies meet, they talk. So they were talking about another friend of theirs and their children. So one person said, and that friend was called Auntie Mansa. He said, as for Auntie Mansa, God has blessed her. He said, my sister, say it again. Say it again. See the way God has blessed Auntie Mansa. Look at their children. One is a doctor. Second one, engineer. Third one, lawyer. Fourth one, businessman. Only one is a teacher. So we teachers, they don't respect us. But I'm surprised. So I'm glad you added as part of it. Now, so, is it right to be a professional footballer? The answer is simple. Look at Michael Essien. Look at Stephen Appiah. Look at Asamoah Gyan. Look at Thomas Partey. But look at this. Each of these players, those who are still playing, and look at quiet. Now look at those who are outside. The playing career of a footballer is very short. So if a person is even 35 and is playing football, it means that that person he's really extended his time. So Cristiano Ronaldo is 37 and they say longevity, he has so much years. But if you are to be an engineer or lawyer, at 37 you are not beginning. So watch the career path of those in Europe and those in the part of the world. The moment they start playing, they prepare for their future. Either to be a manager, a pundit, an agent, etc. Then they begin to educate themselves in that area. So it is good to pursue the path of a professional footballer. But whilst you are doing so, to have an option and prepare for the future as well. Because you see, it doesn't depend on you. It depends on an agent, a club, a team who will like you, and we the fans who will say you are a good player. Because of that, as you seek to do that, don't stop school. Still pursue other interests whilst you pursue that. So that if one fails, and even when you become a footballer, prepare for the next life, which is that after I stop playing, what next? Injury. Even if there's no injury and you are 32 and you stop playing, what next? So it's a good thing. You are a good footballer. Nobody should stop you. That's your interest. But don't focus on that and say, only football play. Would you be a manager? Would you be a pundit? Would you be an agent? Would you be a commentator? What else would you do after? And even with all the footballers, they are business interests. They do all kinds of businesses just so life must go on. Is that all right? Is that all right? Fantastic. Then the question about a lawyer. So he used that as an example, but it applies to all professions. So he said, experience, he understands. Go and work with somebody, or go and volunteer. You find a superior and all of that. The difference between experience and skill is this. Do you know you can learn to do something, but learn to do it wrongly? A good example. It has been shown that when people from Ghana, they move to, let's say, UK, and they already know how to drive. When they go for driving lessons, they fail. Because they've learned the wrong way of driving in Ghana. So they have to unlearn what they have learned and relearn. Whereas those who learn it straight away in UK, they pass easily because they learn the right thing the first time. It is more difficult to learn something the wrong way and you not want to learn the right thing. You have to unlearn the wrong thing and relearn. You can have experience, but still experience in the wrong way. When you begin to have skill, you learn to do the right thing. So that's why I said training, mentorship, apprenticeship. So you look at lawyers who have succeeded. Let's say you look at Lawyer Chikata or Akoto Ampao. You may not even work with him directly, but you follow him to court when he has a case. You begin to say, how does he do it? How does he prepare? And then you begin to say, oh, even you can even copy even the way he dresses, copy his mannerisms, copy the way he asks questions. Go and learn it, read, and all of that. When you do that, you are acquiring skill, the ability to do things right. And it comes from preparation, mentorship, and apprenticeship. Experience, yes, you want to have a hands-on. But skill, you now want to learn how to do it the right way. And that comes with a lot of pain, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of learning, a lot of following, a lot of knowing those who can do it well. You don't even have to be with them physically. The reason why we read books, let me tell you why we read books. So, if you read, let's say, the Bible said, in the beginning, God created the world. In 7 days, created the world. 7 days have been put in one sentence. When you read a book of a life history, somebody 50 years experience, you can learn it in 30 seconds. The person is mentoring you from afar. So he tells you that when you are going to this place, pass here. He may have spent 5 years to learn that road. You use 2 minutes. That's why reading is good. And I want everybody to be a reader. The problem we have in our country is that people don't read. When you read, and I don't mean the thing on social media, I mean proper book, where you read biographies, life histories. They will teach you the things they got right and the things they got wrong, and then you use that to pattern your life. Thank you.
And on behalf of the school, the management, we would like to thank God for today's program and then thank Professor Abednego Amartey and his team for coming here to give us this inspiring and educative lessons, these talks, question and answers, and for taking us in different levels on how to go about our lives and building our lives TV. Thank you very much for today's program.